It's gray, but whatever.
Chris almost had a white shirt, and then we would be the 3 white shirt
People
dudes.
think people would think that we coordinate our outfits.
It's like a period, you know, with girls. Like if
Yeah,
they, you know, like women,
Yeah.
they cohabitate. Eventually, their period starts syncing up.
Starts
Did you know that?
I've
Amit?
always thought that's the like that's like the 8th wonder of the world. How like women's periods sync up if
Sync
they live
up?
together. I just never understood that.
What that tells me is that there's a biological system of communication that is outside what we think. That's outside visual and audio. That there's somehow the brains and the bodies are biologically.
Is that spiritual more than biological? Even though it is
biological. I mean, what would be
But
spiritual?
like how, dude,
How do
like one girl who has period on the 7th, one girl who has period on the 14th. After 20 days, they both have periods on the 28th. How does that? You know, like,
I would say it's pheromones. They've done studies where, for example, women, I think that when they're like right after their period, they're more attractive to males. Like males find them more attractive, or women after they give birth or something. Like there's a whole system of pheromones that you're not aware of that you respond to. And I would imagine that the women respond to that in the same way. I'm just completely guessing. I'm not a biologist, but I can ask my sister. She's a PhD in biology. I'll ask.
Dude, any women watching this must be like, these fucking idiots.
Be like, yeah, you're like, stick to stocks, you fucking dude.
Stick to stocks. First of all, thank you to 145 people being here in a minute 30 seconds. That's
awesome.
It seems like you guys had a bored Sunday if you guys are here in 1 minute for the podcast. So thank you for being here. Periodonomics. Yeah, that is crazy.
I wonder if like four chicks, I wonder if 4 girls were doing a podcast together, if their periods could sync. You think it goes beyond like the physical?
Oh yeah. Well, that would prove or disprove my thesis. If they're not in the same room, that would be a great.
Wait, so you're saying if 4 girls started a podcast and they did it every day like us, would their periods sync through the fucking screens? And
that would destroy my biological thesis, but it would be an insane experiment. There's this podcast that I kind of watch and I follow them on Twitter. You ever hear them? Mostly Peaceful Latinas.
No, but of course,
when I search for Latinas,
when I search for Latina, there's a
they're really political. They're really political, and it's like I think it's these 2 sisters. Anyway, they're somewhat.
I'm looking at this shit right now.
Their channel is like somewhat hit or miss. I've actually thought of reaching out to them and doing a podcast with them. Check them out. Bring it up. Mostly Peaceful Latinas.
8,000.
Yeah,
I've seen them before. I've seen them.
I feel like I've seen that. They haven't posted in 4 months, but
I wish they had better production value. But when their conversations are good, they're good. But when they're bad, they're like, nah. But I was like, oh shit, like,
damn, so bro, they need some subs, man. Yo, guys, hook them up,
guys.
Subs.
No, don't hook them up. Listen,
don't hook them up for free.
No, listen, on their next podcast, if it's live, then like bomb them or subscribe bomm them, or on their next video, just comment and say the finance junkie sent you. Like,
but they're official. It looks like they're It looks like their shit is.
Carlos sent us.
Yeah, real studio. Dude, they paid a lot for this studio. It looks like they're taking it seriously.
It's someone's house. I could have that at my place. We put them.
That's true. You're right. Okay, well, the Peaceful
Latinas. They got good mics. Yeah. Anyway, so it'd be good to see him.
Big Billy.
Cholas. Yeah, cholas can be hot, but
wait. So what's the difference between what is a chola? I've heard the term. I've just never really like.
It was actually like it was like a gang thing, I think, at some point, and now it's been adopted as like a hottie.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. At least how, from my understanding, I'm 46. Maybe I'm out of the loop, but that's how
Anytime I see a chola, I just see like a tornado. That's what I see.
You know me, Johnny. Yeah, I'm trying to get that female perspective on my Sofi calls.
Okay.
No. You know what? I have to take one step back.
I actually would really talk to them about. I swear to God, I wanted to invite them on the show. Talk to them about finance.
Look what happened to fucking Elf Beauty. Look at what happened to Elf Beauty, dude.
It ran.
They had we had the inside track on this thing, and
Jeremy was telling us Jeremy was talking about them in like 2020. I think he was talking about.
Dude, women run the world, man. Women
are 80% of the consumer spending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found out 25% of Black Friday payments were done on buy now, pay later. That's like 25% of like a couple $100 billion was done on buy now, pay later. So
there is a bubble forming somewhere, dude.
Or people just like buy now, pay later. Maybe that.
You know what? I gotta say that comment right there by Technical Trader Wong is absolutely 100% correct. Don't bet against women. That's absolutely true. If women like something, dude, it's going up. You know, if women hate it, it's going down. This day and age, with the level of discretionary income that women have now, it's more than most men. Like, we barely fucking spend our money on anything. They actually go out and spend money. So if women like it, like, dude, Celsius was put on to me not by anyone else. It was put on to me by my wife, and her working at the hospital and seeing all the nurses drinking it. That's what really put it on. So if, dude, there should be way more marketing done that gears towards young females, because females right now have more I think more college educated people on a per capita basis now are females, and not just like regular like higher education, but I'm talking about grad school level education. most of the girls that I know, all of them have a minimum, like either at least a bachelor's degree or a master's degree in my circle of friends, where the guys, a lot of them are either dropped out of college or did a couple of years of college or graduated college, and maybe some have done like a little bit advanced, but the entire
how do you explain women not being CEOs of major companies then?
Because it hasn't taken as much time yet. Women have if you think about it, most CEOs don't, no one becomes a CEO overnight. It takes 20 to 30,
the majority of
Fortune
500 are men.
Right, but that's because they worked their way all the way 40 years. Like, okay, Jamie Dimon right now, he has been in banking and finance since the 1990s. So women right now, because they're entering the workforce with these higher education levels a lot more later to the party, I think eventually you'll see a lot more women CEOs eventually.
Or a lot of them just want to be moms too. I mean, there's an argument that
honestly that's what it is. Most of the time is when you reach, in order to get to that level, it requires a certain level of focus and giving up things in your life, a supreme focus on that, right? Most of those men that reach that level have a woman behind them that is supporting their
facts, and they sacrifice everything.
They sacrifice everything, and the women deal with not having their man around. Women that do that don't have that. They don't have a man in the background that's holding down the fort at home. And a lot of these women, I was actually watching a video about why there aren't. It was this question: why aren't there more like women CEOs? And what the guy was saying is like, if you watch the women that come out of law school, there's women that come out of law school, highly educated, and they're basically as competitive as men up until they reach about the early 30s. And then at a certain point, these women realize, I want to have a family. I basically, this is what they're saying. These companies invest in these women as much as they invest in the men. They have them on fast track to being VPs. And somewhere around 30 years old, it hits them that this is not how they want to live their life, that they want to have a family. And so they'll take a step back and usually marry someone equal to their income. And then that man will just go ahead and support them. And so a lot of these companies will dump a lot of resources into basically grooming these women to be high level management. And at a certain point, they realize that's not the game that they want to play. They don't want to give up the next 10 years of their life and be in an office and be away from their family or the rest of their life, or be single. And they just make the choice to leave the workforce. So it's just a decision that the women make. It's not that they can't do it or that they wouldn't be given the opportunity, but the ones that will actually give up that part, that much of their life to achieve something that is basically like what men are ingrained to do, like born to do innately, is very rare. Those women are very rare. I know some of those women, and by and large, they're very successful, but they're largely unhappy. Later on, when they achieve that level of success, I find that all those women that I know like that are empty inside.
Yeah, and I don't think that's to say men are more ambitious than women. I think it's because women are drawn to that sort of feminine need to build a family.
They're more social. They're more social by nature. And the other thing too is when you reach that level, they're competing against other men who are incredibly vicious and cutthroat and will do whatever necessary. So it's the same reason why not every man gets there. You're competing with sharks. I mean, everyone at that level is an absolute killer.
It's a hard game.
It's hard to compete. Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, there's another thing too. Like, depending on which role you're talking about, women tend to gravitate towards those specific parts of the companies as well. So let's just take a look at this. So if you look at this chart right here,
KRIS got a chart for everything. This is why he's the GOAT. KRIS has a chart for everything.
No, so this is the Russell 3000. You can see these are the 3,000 biggest companies 3,000 companies in the United States, right? You can see here that women they went from being 2.4% of CEOs to now being 5.4. So they jumped almost 100%
Doubled.
increase, right? So it doubled the amount of people that are in that position. If you look at in 2010, in terms of human resources, chief human resource officer, they went from being 26% to almost 60%. They've literally dominated the human resources executive market. Same thing with chief administrative office, chief counsel, which is lawyers, right? They've literally doubled their representation in there. So I think women are moving into more leadership and executive roles. Maybe the CEO part is just not as pronounced because, like I said, it takes a really long time to get to CEO level. Yeah. But I think women are headed in the right direction. And I don't think that we will ever get to a point where there's going to be like 100%, neutrality, like 50% women, 50% men. It's just, I don't think it'll happen in my lifetime. But
Heinz Ketchup, 612. Don't forget healthcare and nursing. There are some industries that are by and large dominated by women. Healthcare and nursing and education, by and large, is dominated by women. And so that lines up more with, say, what they're biologically inclined to do. And they absolutely dominate those. And I know a lot of women too that had incredible success in the human resource side. Because in general, people feel more comfortable talking to them. They feel more comfortable taking that sort of direction. And companies feel like they have someone more sensitive in that role if it's a woman that'll understand the needs of the company and weigh that against the needs of the employees. So,
yeah.
And you have it.
I have something to say about crypto.
Oh, and then I want to play that game. I want to play that. I want to pose that question.
Oh, that question you're going to pose. Okay.
No, you want to do your thing.
So the title of this pod is Amit realized something about crypto.
Oh, man.
I had an experience last night that has made me incredibly bullish on the concept of crypto. I don't know if Bitcoin's going to go to the moon or anything like that, but I am more impressed by what Brian Armstrong has built with Coinbase. And I am more excited for the future of crypto. It's a quick story. I needed a task to get done. I hired someone across the world. He was in Nigeria. And we got to working agreements on everything that needs to be done. And then last night, we were like, all right, so we settled on a payment. Are we good? I'm like, all right, do you have PayPal? He was like, nah, bro. I was like, do you have how do I pay you? And he was like, can you do crypto? And at first thing, I was like, fuck, this is going to be a scam. It's crypto. Like, we had such a good conversation. I don't want to do crypto, blah, blah, blah. And then I was just like, I don't really want to do crypto. And then so he started explaining, he started educating me.
That's funny. Mika, was he a Nigerian prince? It's so true. He's like, yo, just send me all your coins. I just need your address. I need to park $700 billion.
He was not a Nigerian prince. He was actually a really dope dude. This is like our second conversation.
Right.
We talked early in the week. So we just had to stress out details, but we never talked about payment in the first conversation. So now I'm like, all right, I kind of feel it's a scammy. I don't want to send crypto, blah, blah. So we negotiated two things. Number one, we negotiated he'll do the job and then I'll pay him. So I think that solves everything. So once I get the job done, then I'll send him the crypto. But second of all, he started educating me and he was just like, dude, in Nigeria, we don't fucking have PayPal. We don't have this banking infrastructure the United States has. I felt so privileged and such a piece of shit for like being so aggressive against his need to get paid in crypto because he just doesn't have anything that works like that. He works at a fintech startup and they use a company called Deal, DEEL, which handles all of their outsourcing for finances. Mm-hmm. And so they have to go through so much shit just to get paid there. Mm-hmm. And so with me, he was just like, yeah, if you just do it on crypto, that's the easiest. And so I had to balance my feelings of this is a scam, which inevitably resolved with like the negotiations of I'll pay you after you give me the work, with like, wait a second, this guy lives in a country where they don't have the economic infrastructure we had. And like a light bulb went off, was like, holy shit. I think this is why Jamie Dimon doesn't like crypto. Because if I can just send this guy the money through crypto, there's nothing that's really taking an intermediary fee outside of like the exchange, which is Coinbase. Then it opens up so many possibilities of unlocking human ingenuity and potential in places where if you were born there, you got fucked by the lottery of birth because you ended up being born in a country that just doesn't have PayPal or doesn't have Venmo or Cash App or any of this type of shit. Whereas in the West, we use these products like it's nothing, like it's part of our day-to-day lives. And so the realization I wanted to say is that for the first time ever, I really saw the use case for I am getting a very valuable product in exchange for payment, and crypto is facilitating that payment.
So this is where this is one of the things I will grant you. It feels like an epiphany, but I feel is like is actually a trap. Okay, and I'll give you my reasoning why, and I'm sure Carlos is going to have a disagreement, but it's fine. When it comes down to it, the technology itself is actually valid. And I totally agree with it. There's multiple crypto currencies that are specifically built to be able to have transactions that happen at lightning speeds that could provide the infrastructure necessary to make all of this work in countries like Nigeria. Well, Nigeria is not actually by way a poor country, all right? They have a ton of oil revenue. They're not super advanced, but they're not poor either. But when it comes to like other countries like that are much smaller, that don't have the infrastructure and everything else built out yet, there's definitely a valid use case for crypto. The question is, which crypto is that going to be? In my opinion, it has to be something that's centralized, because there's a lot of people that use cryptocurrency for scamming purposes. So what happens is, now if someone does scam somebody using crypto, there's no way to get that money back, because there's so many intermediaries that you have to go through in order to even try to figure out who did the scam. And those people can take that money off the blockchain, put it into cold storage and all this other stuff. So the security part of crypto can also be a big detriment on recovering funds. I'll give you a really just quick example, because I posted on my Patreon. One of my Patreons, he's also part of another YouTuber's Patreon. It's Meet Kevin's Patreon. Someone messaged him as Meet Kevin. Was like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for joining my Patreon. Had a meaningful conversation with the guy and convinced him to get into some deals with Meet Kevin. Now, this person, of course, was a little bit naive, of course, but that happens when you feel like, hey, your favorite content creator is reaching out to you.
Yep.
They ended up transferring that person like $30,000 in Bitcoin, I think, right? And this is like money that they worked overtime for and everything else, thinking that this is going to make their life better, that they're getting someone with reputation like Meet Kevin on the other side of this. Turns out it was a crypto scammer, and basically jacked his 30K. He went to Robinhood, because that's how they did the transfer and everything. Robinhood said, hey, not my problem. It's not something that I can deal with.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Okay, so what is your disagreement with what I said? I said I'm bullish for crypto because I can finally pay this guy. What is your argument against that? What's wrong?
Well, my argument is what you're saying is you're bullish on the technology, right? The question is,
I'm just bullish on the concept of being able to send somebody money across.
Right. No, I agree. But the question is, how are people going to monetize it and make a business of it that's profitable, that goes on? Because there's a lot of great ideas out there, but the question is, are they monetizable? Right? And can they be sustaining?
Doesn't Coinbase prove that? Like, if I send the guy the money through Coinbase will take a small fee, but that's peanuts compared to the fact that I can pay the guy, right? Like that's
yeah. So then what you're saying is you're bullish on Coinbase, not necessarily.
But Coinbase is crypto. Coinbase allows you to send crypto. That's
I just want to jump in here. I cannot believe we're still having this argument. People are going to get scammed no matter what. People can get scammed in fiat currency. People can get scammed in any sort of currency. The problem is not with crypto. The problem is that there are nefarious actors out there that are going to try to steal people's money. The fact that there are no custodians in between you and in between the two parties making the transaction is the strength of crypto. The moment you try to regulate it or centralize it, crypto loses its power. It was designed to be decentralized, and that is its strength. We don't need to have a bunch of big banks what is it, like enabling the transactions. What Amit experienced was, I want to exchange certain value to this person, and I want to give them a certain value for the value that they're giving me. Why do I need to have a bunch of banks and a bunch of other computers taking pennies or dollars off of that transaction if I know that I want to pay this person for their services?
And real quick, Carlos, not just why are the banks going to take a fee, but more so the banks chose not to set up shop in Nigeria. So I don't have the opportunity to even let PayPal take 10% of the fee. Right?
What it does is it brings online a bunch of these developing countries that have things to offer to the market, and it gives you a way of being able to communicate and hire these people. It helps bring, this is another thing, it helps to bring these third world countries up a few notches if they can participate in the global freaking economy. Because I'll tell you right now, JP Morgan's not going to be setting up a bank there anytime soon, because they need their fees. They need their, they need to have their ways, like Chris said, of making money off of your money. Yeah, we don't need that. There's some really talented people in other parts of the world, other businesses that you want to work with. Here's the other thing too, because of where we are in the adoption cycle of crypto. If you say paid him $1,000 and he leaves that there, he's going to get a better return on that $1,000 that you gave him than he would leaving it in any bank.
Dude, that's a good fucking point. And the other point that I heard from him and a couple other people is, let's say I found out a way to pay this guy in cash or through the bank account. He had to take it out from the ATM.
Yeah,
like he can. There are people waiting at the ATM.
Yeah, they'll rob you
waiting
blind.
to fuck you up in those countries, especially in Malaysia. Like, so it's not that easy to just send people money. But he is offering a service, and he's the only one that can do it. I don't have anybody else right now, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think these arguments have long been debunked. It's a shame. It is sad when someone gets scammed, and maybe there will at some point be some sort of like an FDIC protection up to a certain amount of money that can protect you in the same way that you would have a bank account. Maybe Coinbase at some point will offer some sort of insurance.
I think they will eventually. Yeah.
But the bottom line is, if you get scammed from someone, it's unfortunate, but that's why the people do it. The people do it because they're successful and they're not able to recover those funds. And so it happens with fiat currency.
And this is where you have to really dispel misinformation. Like Rango, look at Rango's comment up there. You can get scammed on Zelle too. You can't get your money back, right? That's what he said. This is exactly what happened. People in Zelle, there were people using Zelle to actually do imposter scams. FBI caught them, required the banks to reimburse. Like, they actually were able to grab the funds and get it back.
But I'll tell you, the FBI can force them to do that. But the point is, if I'm a
because it's I'm saying because it's a centralized. Okay, go ahead.
Hold on. Yeah. There was a guy in my neighborhood who went around trying. This is like in 2020 when the pandemic first happened. He went around trying the car doors in people's driveways, and he was able to open up the car door of a woman that I know in my neighborhood, and he was able to steal her daughter's cell phone, and he was able to Zelle himself like $4,000. I don't know why she never passed it on her phone. Now, even if the bank reimburses her for that, he took the money out immediately. So he Zelled it to himself and took it out, say, as cash. They can pay her back for the money, but the scammer still came away with the physical hard cash. And there is a cost to the consumers that are supporting that network for the insurance on that money. It's not free money. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that money is still from somewhere.
But Carlos, it's easily traceable because the guy had to use identification to open a bank account. So the money that went has his ID and information there. So yes, the minute he withdraws that money, he's automatically guilty. And at that point now, law enforcement knows, hey, this guy is a scammer. Get him, go after him.
But it's
right?
the same
With crypto, you can't do that.
But real quick, let me interject real quick.
You need to
go ahead.
If you're on Coinbase, for example, if that's the exchange you're using, you need to upload an ID. You need to have a bank account that is connected to it through Plaid, that service, to be able to send the money back and forth to the fiat currency. So it's all tracked, and the blockchain itself is a public ledger, and you can see all the transactions. So
this is why I'm saying,
honestly, crypto is the stupidest way to try to scam people.
No. But Carlos, that's what I'm trying to get at, which is if you have someone who's got a central database of addresses, that right there is probably the most powerful tool.
So that is the blockchain. What do you mean?
But that's what I'm saying. No. What I'm saying is, if you think about it this way, Coinbase, right? Coinbase has that person's information. So as long as the transfer was done from a Coinbase account to a Coinbase account, they could trace who the Coinbase account for that person
or Coinbase to Robinhood or Coinbase to any of the other exchanges.
Right. The thing is, a lot of crypto transactions can also be done outside of that network as well.
But Chris, you have the equivalent. You have the equivalent of like offshore accounts and accounts.
Right. But what I'm
have
saying,
these anonymous sort of bank accounts where you can do this and launder money. Well, the problem is that exists. It is not a function of just cryptocurrency, and it's not anything bearish on cryptocurrency. No matter what you invent for people to exchange value, there will always be someone to invent some way to take advantage of that, up to and including the person waiting at the ATM for you to take the money out and then physically take it out of your hand.
Right.
Here's the point I want to make.
You can say that about ATM machines. We should not have ATM machines because it's too dangerous. People.
No. But that limits.
Hold on. Let me make this point real quick because Chris, I want to know your thoughts on this. The guy who sent $30K to meet Kevin.
It's not me, Kevin. It was a scammer.
Whatever. Some people are just.
He thought he was sending it to me, Kevin. Yeah.
No, but this is the point. Some people are actually just stupid, and you have to take some hard lessons. I've gotten scammed before, so that's why I said, hey, I don't feel comfortable. I want the finished product first, and then I'll pay you. And we came to a conclusion. Now, this is 26-year-old Amit being mature about this. don't you feel like some people at the end of the day just have to be mature and be like, look, before I even send you anything, give me the work, and that kind of resolves the whole idea of getting scammed. Like, my point is, you're blaming scam on crypto. What if we just blame scam on people that are stupid and don't know how to negotiate deals, right? And like, that solves a lot of the scam problem, because he wants the money, I want the service. At the end of the day, he caved. He was like, yeah, you know, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. Let me do the work, and then you pay me.
Yeah.
So doesn't that solve the scam issue? Just people being smarter?
No. I mean,
Like, if you're sending 30K to a Meet Kevin bot, I'm sorry, but you're not
that. Okay, here's
an issue with you. Bro. You got some issues, bro.
Here's the real thing. If crypto didn't exist, that person would have still solicited the $30,000 using something different. It wouldn't have been,
like, because that person's
like,
dumb.
not like the person would have said, man, if only I had a way of getting this guy to try to send me 30 grand. It would have been in a different way. But
no, I mean,
I'm not saying he should lose the money, Gail. I'm not saying he should. I'm saying that if you do dumb things, you lose money. Unfortunately,
right? Do dumb things, you win dumb prizes.
Fuck around, you find out sometimes.
Let me be very straight. A lot of people, when they see opportunity, sometimes, a lot of times, blinders come on because automatically they stop thinking rationally and they only think about the end result, which is, oh my God, I'm going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. And, you know, people have this ability. People naturally are optimistic people. So they don't believe that there's people out there with nefarious intention. You know, when I was in my 20s,
you get a little less.
Like, once again,
right.
Like 20-year-old Amit would have sent him the money.
You're circling back. You're circling back, and you're making the same argument that you started with. This poor guy got scammed. He was silly. He was foolish. He made a foolish decision. Didn't do his research. He was blinded by the fact of it being Meet Kevin.
He was a Meet Kevin fanboy, bro. That's what happened.
That happened.
And by the way, we should not judge him, because I'm sure, and I could call it out, so don't fucking disagree with me on this one. We have invested in companies that went to absolute fucking zero.
Oh, 100%. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying.
So should I get the money that I lost in Romeo Power back because I was scammed?
No.
I get the money back, like the investors in Nikola, they getting their money back, right?
But that's
the money that they invested.
But that's
when
two
we
different
saw that
things.
it was this truck was clearly being rolled down a hill.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Should I get my money back? Where's that money gonna come from?
That's two different things. That's
if Aldia failed, you're not getting your money back, Chris. You just better remember that.
That's two different things. That's two different things.
We got scammed. That's why he's in jail. He's literally in jail right now.
I mean, I agree.
Like, no. I don't think Carlos and I are saying that guy deserves to lose money. It's more so like, dude, if you get scammed, you got to be smarter in the future to not get scammed. So I protected myself. I did not send this guy a single fucking penny yesterday because I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So this guy who sends 30,000 to me, Kevin, that's not because of crypto. That's because he's
no, but the mechanism is much easier because
it's not.
It used to be.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It used to be wire transfers. It used to be money orders. That was a whole scam. Money orders.
Dude, he could have sent a pigeon to that guy's house, given how much of a fanboy he was from Meet Kevin. He would have fucking put the cash.
My wife works at one of those money transfer places, like the international places, and there's scammers all the time that do things like making money orders, right? So there's people that come in there to pay their bills, right? They're like, they want to pay a bill, and they're like, make a money order out to this company. We're going to pay your cell phone bill, whatever. And then that money is gone. And this is a money transfer place. And when they come back and say, look, where's that $2,500? They're like, you made a money order and you gave it to someone and like, it's gone. I'm sorry. And that person just has to deal with it. So you can't say that the money orders are the problem. You're just saying that people aren't educated or they're easily fooled.
This is so sad, but like so many immigrant populations are like the number one target. Like old people and immigrants are usually the number one targets for scammers, right? Yeah. I'll tell you guys about a scam that I remember that was like there a long time ago. You remember, see, back in the day, right now, you can just make a phone call to India, China, Mexico, whatever, right? It's very simple. You use WhatsApp, it's free, it's great.
You have to have the
back in the day, back in the day, you used to have those phone cards, remember? So the way that these phone cards
the phone cards were another massive fucking scam.
Dude, my dad used to sell so many of them.
Oh, dude, those were a huge scam back in the day, like in the early 2000s, to make those international calls. That was another massive scam.
But what these companies would do is you would buy these international minutes wholesale, right? And then you would sell the phone cards to people so that they would use the phone card. But the one thing that a lot of people don't realize is sometimes what these guys would do is they would buy these things wholesale, like 5,000 to 10, like a crap ton of minutes, and issue the phone cards, right? But then after like a couple of years, they would just create these fees that if you don't use them after a certain period of time, everything just gets eaten away really quickly. And they would use that, and basically they would get all of their money back within a very short period of time. And then those phone cards within like a couple of years were useless.
Well, basically useless. I used to get scammed with those. A buddy of mine, like one of my best friends, moved to Ireland, and I used to talk to him that way. This is before FaceTime, right? Before you could really make these sort of like Wi-Fi calls. And I would buy, say, a $30 card, and it would say, okay, you get 60 minutes for $30. For $30, and I get on the phone. Now we were on cell phones, and then when it would say at the beginning of the call, you have 29 minutes remaining on this call. If the call dropped and I used the same number to call him back, they would say you have 8 minutes remaining, because what they would do is they would charge you out of the $30, $23 was the connection fee. Okay, so if that call dropped, you lost 75% of the value by the time you called back, and that's what they would do. They would catch you on the connection fee and basically take 70-80% of the amount of money on the face value of the card just to connect. And only if the calls didn't drop were you given your full 30 minutes. And it happened to us so many times. And at a certain point, I was like, my God, I should just get an international calling plan. And then shortly after that, Apple came out with FaceTime, and I was sitting there making a video FaceTime call to someone for free in a country where it was costing me basically $1 a minute to talk over a crappy phone.
It changed everything.
Like,
changed everything.
What the fuck is this? Then when Wi-Fi calling started being a thing, back then it was like Viber. Viber was the first app.
Skype,
and I was like, and I remember thinking a year or so after that, like, why did we pay so much money just to connect, to talk to someone on the phone? It was a great scam for all the people involved while it lasted. And then technology basically got rid of that scam. That now no one buys calling cards. I don't know anyone that would buy a calling card. You download WhatsApp and you make calls and you do video chats for free.
Let me ask this question real quick, then we got to move on to stocks. Why do you think JP Morgan and these Bank of Americas haven't set up shop in some of these parts of the world where crypto is the only way to send money? Why
not enough margin? Not enough margin. Not enough margin.
Absolutely. There's not enough margin. By the time they recoup their investments of either the brick and mortar or the infrastructure, it wouldn't make sense. The amount of money that they're depositing is not enough to have any significant yield. There's just no incentive for them at this point. This is one of the reasons why they are lobbying so hard. I read something online that I think Elizabeth Warren has proposed something like 300 bills, and only one of them has ever passed. Like what she's doing now with crypto. I think was it you that posted that, Chris? That's that. Anyway, she is being propped up as the face, trying to demonize crypto. And to me, this is all just in preparation for exactly what Chris is saying. Crypto itself, the blockchain technology, is actually quite sound. What we need it to be centralized. We need someone to control it by our cryptocurrency, by the government, the BTC or the CDC, right? They buy our cryptocurrency where they can control the supply, which is basically what they want. They want to basically digitize the dollar and have you buy into their version of the dollar. And
what if they took every three-letter agency and turned it into a coin, like the CIA coin, FBI coin,
FBI,
IRS
CIA?
Bro, I wouldn't be surprised if one day we woke up and literally like, oh, crypto's just a fucking psyop for the NSA to get data on all the terrorists out there. Congratulations, motherfucker, we got you now.
Well, that's what a government issued or a Federal Reserve issued cryptocurrency would be. That's what's happening in Australia right now.
No.
They have banned cash. They are slowly getting rid of cash. And what it
but that's what I'm saying is, what if the government is the one that actually created crypto? You know what I mean?
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Who's Satoshi Nakamoto?
Who is Satoshi? Well, if they're sitting on like 1 million or something Bitcoin. He's got a ton of Bitcoin.
Oh shit! By the way, guys, we got quick breaking news. A car just crashed into Joe Biden's motorcade.
What?
Per Reuters.
Ooh.
I'm going to CNN real quick, seeing if we got an update.
Didn't I tell you guys all sorts of weird shit is about to happen in 2024? You're gonna see,
bro. Can we talk about the Senate thing? Can we talk about the leaked video on the Senate?
Oh God!
I was seeing it on my Twitter feed. I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Okay, hold on. Let's do a quick segment on stocks going into this week. Carlos, cue up this Congress thing or this
Stephen Toro is correct. Yes,
we'll talk about
government is not that smart. The people are morons.
Okay, let's do a quick segment on this. Then we'll go to the Congress thing, Carlos. So just cue it up, and I got your next segment.
No, I can't. We'll get demonetized.
Okay. So we'll get it ready. We'll not watch it, but we'll talk about it. Chris, does the market rally into the end of the year? Mag 7 have a almost 30 PE. Remaining 493 companies are just above 20. Small cap seem to be basically, my question is, do you think this dip doesn't happen, or the dip continues in large cap, goes to small cap, and the end of the year actually ends in a Santa Claus rally? Or do we come back down to 450, 460 on the S&P? What do you think happens?
I think we get a Santa Claus rally. I think the rest of the year, there's just too much. There's a lot of optimism that's going into the rest of the year. So the optimism and the sentiment will carry forward. The other thing is there's a catch-up trade that's happening right now with there's actually money moving off the sidelines and into not the Magnificent Seven for once, but into the remaining 493 companies that you're seeing in the S&P. So what you're seeing right now is, one, you're seeing a little bit of rotation out of mega cap, and instead going into the other parts of the market that haven't necessarily recovered as significantly as the Magnificent Seven.
So you think this continues? This rotation continues? You think?
Yes. I mean, Tom Lee said there could be the Russell could be up 50% by the end of next year, and I'm inclined to agree with him. So, but I'm playing this a little bit differently than playing just the Russell 2000, because I think there's a lot of underperformers in the Russell as well in terms of a lot of zombie companies. So I'm looking for the best companies in the Russell and investing in those companies, because I think some of them have amazing track records of growth. They have great cash flows, and they're likely to benefit significantly. So I'll just give, as an example, go back one, and I'll give you a company just to take a quick look at, and then you'll see like exactly why. Like, so go to ATKR, Atcore, right? They're a smaller company. They're only about $5.86 billion company, but look at the PE. It's a 9 PE in a growing company that's doing a crap ton of share buybacks, right? So the thing is, companies like this, and especially if you stretch it out 1 year to 5 years, you can see that there's a lot of growth that they're catching, a lot of stuff that they're catching up. So do the 5 year. So you can see here that they've gone up significantly since 2019. They actually do a lot of roll-ups, but the key here is that if you look at their performance for the last year, so click on their 1 year chart, you can see that it's actually pretty good, but it's not as good as some of the other things that could have gone. So it's had its dips, and recently it's had that rally. So I think companies like this will rally, but there's two sectors in particular right now that are in the small cap space that are going to do amazing, and one of them being the KRE, right? Some regional banks. Regional banks are going to absolutely kill it in 24. So I think a lot of people are positioning themselves to be in the KRE. So if you look at how the KRE has recovered in a very short period of time, I think this goes right into 2024. So go to the 5 year chart, the KRE, right? So you can see here that we're halfway there, or do the max actually. Let's see how far down the KRE is actually gone. So you can see here, post Great Financial Crisis, they went from 20 to the 60s, right? I think eventually KRE gets a little bit higher, back to like the 70s, 80s again, you know?
Yeah, it was 70 in 2022. Yeah, it's fallen a lot. Carlos, would you say the same, that you think the rally continues towards the end of the year?
Towards the end of the year? Well, not necessarily in the Magnificent Seven, because they've run up so much as of recently. I think what you're seeing in the stock market, and again, to tie it back to the subject of crypto, this is exactly what happened.
Bitcoin also down 3% today as well.
This is what happens. This is what happens in crypto, where like you could make the analogy that like Bitcoin is the Magnificent Seven, then you've got your Ethereum, your Cardanos, like your next big sort of like the smaller, larger market cap cryptos, and then you've got all the shit coins, right, which are basically our small cap stocks. And basically the profits from those find their way down into like the next level, the Ethereums and the Cardanos, the XRPs, even the Doge, you could say, and then it starts to trickle down into all these other shit plays. And it's basically people trying to continue to amplify their cash. The Magnificent Seven have run up a bunch. You could argue that like Google is still undervalued, right? But I think people have made enough money in those mega caps, and they want to find a home for it to continue to show the growth. Yeah. And so they pull back, because what happens is on that level, what happens on that level, there's so many big players with their money in the Magnificent Seven that it's almost like it's like a game of musical chairs. The first one to pull out is the one that gets the money. Right, is the one that gets the profits,
right,
and then
gets profits, right,
leaves the other big hedge funds and big institutions holding the bag, and so they don't want to. So they start trickling on, DCAing on their way out, And what they try to do is increase some sort of a FOMO in retail to absorb some of that sell pressure as they sell off, right? So they want people buying in as they're selling off. And then it goes into the mid caps, and then we start to see the small caps rally. And we see this happen all the time. It's very clear when you see it in crypto because there are charts that actually track this. Like I was actually looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart. How much of the total market cap of crypto is Bitcoin versus the other coins, right? And it's the same sort of deal. So the mega caps have already run up a bunch. And I think to your point, you keep making this point that we're going to start to, the market is now going to have to start seeing justification for these valuations in the earnings. Right. So this month, next month, I think it's sort of a come to Jesus moment, right? They've got to show the numbers. If not, then they're going to pull back.
It's going to be really interesting in 2024 because I agree with Chris. I think regionals and small caps are going to do really well. And so the question is in 2024, what if Google does go up 70% again, or Nvidia has price target on like 680? What if they actually get there again? Yeah. I mean, if they do that 2 years in a row, that would be the most magnificent, ironically,
Nvidia is some completely outlier monster. And here's the thing: when you think about, I'm actually really impressed with what Nvidia has done, because that is like that's something that you really only see in the crypto space.
Yeah,
is an asset that big moving that quickly for such a sustained period of time.
The only stocks that have beat Nvidia's return this year are crypto miners.
I mean, there right. you go. There you go. And in the last 5 years, I think the only stock that's outperformed Bitcoin is Nvidia. But it's really been in this last year or two. But it's absolutely insane what that company has been able to do. Will they continue to enjoy that valuation? I don't know. But if they don't, then I mean, it's literally a crypto that's on the stock market. That's what Nvidia has been. It is no rhyme or reason. Valuation doesn't matter. When people believe in something, they believe in it. That's it.
One last thing, the other industry that is going to benefit too is REITs. A lot of people have been REITs off like crazy. So if you've been in some of the REIT plays like this year, SL Green, SL Green Army, what's up? They've actually done exceptionally well, and I think there's quite a few REITs that haven't bounced back to the levels that I think that there should be at. So that's the research that I'm doing. There's a lot of REITs that are garbage too. So don't think that, just because you own a REIT that it's automatically going to do well. You have to be very selective, because there are a ton of REITs that are holding on garbage assets, but there's others that have great assets that are underlying a strong cash flow, that's repeatable cash flow, that's going to do exceptionally well, especially in a lower rate environment. So,
Did you guys make any big moves last week with that rally after the Fed meeting?
I just laid back and I watched the portfolio have some fun, to be honest.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I was just like green.
I saw a lot of green, and I was tempted to just keep holding and maybe do some DCA, but I took my own advice and I sold like 15 of my. I sold all my SoFi call options.
Yeah, you said you were going to do that. Yeah, you said.
But I was like, but they're going to run. They're going to keep running. I was like, bro, they're up 128%. What more do you want?
Well, so here's the thing.
I had a lot of time on them, but I was like,
let's do this question. I started some controversy on Saturday night. I literally said this tweet.
SoFi versus PayPal. Jesus Christ.
No, it wasn't SoFi versus PayPal. It was a different one. I saw this tweet. I quote tweeted it, and I went to bed and I woke up and all hell broke loose. Is SoFi currently the better
Palantir?
Right. Versus Palantir. So let's read this real quick. SoFi, 9 billion market cap, Palantir 41. SoFi, 515 million in revenue, Palantir 550. SoFi 4 price to sales, Palantir 20. SoFi is 27% revenue growth, Palantir is 17. What would you buy right now if you had to pick?
SoFi. And you can't tell me you wouldn't buy SoFi, because that was the same argument you were making with Palantir versus Tesla.
Hey, I didn't give my answer yet.
Palantir's only 12 billion market, whatever it was. Like you were like, it's 20 billion. Is it going to go to? You made this argument on this podcast. Is Palantir going to go to 70 billion before Tesla goes to 1.8 billion trillion?
Billion.
You've made that argument. So the obvious choice, the obvious answer is SoFi. Is SoFi going to go to 18 billion before Palantir goes to 80? Yes.
Wait, so that so you're talking about a double. Okay, Chris.
I'm just saying Palantir. Think about where you're going to get your double.
Easy, Palantir. Not even.
Whoa!
Of course, it's going to say Palantir. You want to fight, Chris? You want to take this?
No. I'll do very simply.
I did not expect that.
No. Just ask yourself just take one step back, okay, and ask yourself, who gets better margins, SaaS companies or banks? So this is a false equivalence right here. Right now, you're trying to say,
look at the price to sales.
No. All that stuff. but all that stuff is great, except what margins do you think banks make? What do you think a bank's margins are? They're literally in like the mid single digits. Software margins over time, they end up being close to like 25 to 50%.
But look at their,
if it's really
bring
good.
up that, but bring up the info.
No,
then.
no, no,
Look
no,
at
no.
the,
Screw
look
all
at the
the
revenue. Yeah, but look
Carlos,
at the,
Carlos, revenue means absolutely nothing if your margins are not on the other side of this. Okay. Showing people, oh my God, look, I made all this money in revenue. JP Morgan probably makes a fuck ton more in terms of revenue than all of these companies combined. Yet, how much do they actually make in profit? Because
that's why
business
you look
models
at price,
are two
you look at
different
the price
business
of
models.
sales and look at the trajectory in terms of the revenue growth.
Price to sales does not matter. At the end of the day, the margins matter. If you have a high margin business, you can make a lot less in revenue, but be worth way more. You understand?
Okay.
Versus
right. What's the cost of customer acquisition for Palantir versus SoFi?
It's a lot less than SoFi. It's a lot less than SoFi. Yes, yes. Because Palantir is not spending on the individual client. They're spending, I mean, not like individual. I'm saying Palantir actually spends money on marketing and promotion to get Fortune 500 companies, right? Versus SoFi that have to keep paying people like what they're doing right now to basically get them to join. I think, and this is just me saying this is a false equivalence. All these people are doing is just saying, hey, look at one sector, that's the banking sector, and let's do a false equivalence to something that's SaaS-like.
But
listen,
it's definitely false equivalence. It's just fun because there's two sides.
It is. No, it is. It is.
Like,
it is. And this is the we had the same argument when it was like Palantir or Tesla. When you compare companies we compare companies with vastly different ways of making money, vastly different customer bases. It's almost a silly question. But I'm just saying, just purely on market cap, what they're being priced at valuation compared to their revenue and their growth, I would say SoFi. So what we should do is just mark this day in your head, do a watch list, put $1,000 in both, and check in like 6 months and see where we're at.
I put a poll. We've got it's actually 57% Palantir, 43% SoFi.
By the way, this is not an
Tanner did it on his channel. I wonder what.
This is Finance Junkies. It's not my channel.
So just to clarify one thing very, very quickly. This does not mean that I'm bullish. This does not mean I'm bullish on Palantir by any means, because I still think their valuation is stretched. Okay. Like, don't get me wrong. Don't think that, KRIS is being, I'm just saying, trying to equate two different companies in two different industries and using cherry-picked metrics is not the way you value it. Because I had this conversation with one of my Patreon people today, and I had to explain, like, look, when you're looking at an industry, you have to value each industry differently because the business models are completely different. So some people will just say, oh my God, look, this company generates $50 billion in revenue and they're only worth $2 billion. How does that happen? Well, it's easy, because that $50 billion of revenue, only about $100 million is coming off as profit, because the industry that they're in is very low in terms of margin. Whereas there's other businesses like Google generates shit ton of cash flow without doing anything. So, you know what I mean? So this is where you have to understand what business you're in.
But what then happens is all arguments end up leading to, what is the cost of capital? Arguments end up leading to, why invest in Palantir or SoFi at all if Google is printing so much money so easily? It's better bet to invest in them. And this is why people eventually funnel all the cash into Magnificent Seven versus investing in anything. You can always make that argument, because then I could say, well, then why invest in that? Just put all your money in Bitcoin. But if you're looking at, if we're talking about just those two companies, comparing those two companies, I don't even think we should talk about Google or any of the other companies. It's just a comparison between those two.
It's a stupid comparison, but it's fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, but there's people that have both in their portfolio. And this actually leads to my question, because Sundays are usually our day to be kind of chill. So I've been thinking about this for like the last week. And I'm kind of sad Vitaly's not here, because I think we should do this again when Vitaly's here. But I was thinking to myself, and also a question for the chat. What company, and this is for you and KRIS, okay, what company would you take for each of the finance junkies, for each of the other two or three guys? Which company would you make each of the finance junkies CEO of tomorrow, and why? And then which company would you put yourself in charge of? So I've thought about this a lot. If you want, I'll go first.
Okay, hold on. So the question is this for the chat as well. You have to pick one, and we will include VITALY in this. You had to pick one of us to be. So we got to replace our current CEO.
Replace a current CEO of a company with one of the finance junkies and give your reasoning. And then also for us, which company would you want to say take over that?
Okay, you go first. You go
tomorrow.
first.
Okay, so I've thought about this, right?
Hold on. I can imagine you being at night. You barely have 5 hours to sleep, and you're just like, huh. I wonder this thought experiment.
Well, this morning I was trying to get to sleep because I stayed up late so I could stay on my night schedule. And I was thinking, like, for Amit, it was very easy to figure which one I would put for you. For KRIS, it was super easy which one. And I had a hard time figuring out which company would I put VITALY in the helm of. Like, which one would I make him CEO? So my short answers, and we can dive into this more when VITALY's here. So for Amit, tomorrow, and this is a tough one. Maybe you can help me. I would say I'd put you in charge of Robinhood.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good.
I would make Amit, and let me tell you, a close second would be Spotify. I would fire the guy at Spotify and put Amit in charge of fucking Spotify. Why? Because I feel like that's the type of personality that those companies need. I don't know. And ultimately, Robinhood won me out because I could see, you know what? Maybe you see the commercials for, what was that? What's his name? From Deadpool. He owns that the mobile company now.
Fuck,
I forgot.
They sold it.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, like I'm seeing Robinhood commercials with Amit be, up there.
That's such a good point.
Turning the hat backwards, being like, guys, let's talk about investing. The greatest thing in the fucking world is not your girlfriend, but it's the stock market.
Oh, that's so good. By the way, the Wall Street Journal did a piece on them. They paid $11 million to bring in 1.1 billion on the platform for that 1% uncapped fee they were doing.
Crazy.
$1 billion. They paid 11 million for that shit, and they extended it to January 31st. I mean, they're doing a hell job. Yeah, I like that.
Okay,
That's a great idea.
that was me. I was like, I would.
Ad just got. I started playing the ad in my head. I'm like, I would definitely.
I just think it would be great. I just think it'd be great. It would follow your story. You'd have your social media presence, your ex. It would be great if you just ran Robinhood tomorrow. Then I was like, okay, KRIS, what do I think? And I was like, man, should I make him CEO of like Enphase? I was like, no. But then I was like, be perfect. I was like,
bro, just sell everything. Buy some fucking REITs, bro. Sell everything. Fuck
ground, dude. No, but then I said, you know what would be the perfect fucking company for KRIS to be CEO of tomorrow morning? The new CEO of Sofi is KRIS.
No, I'd never do it.
Wait. I'm going to give you my reasoning. My reasoning is because KRIS, would walk in day one and he would say, guys, I am CEO of a company and I don't like our fucking product. We are going to stop what we're doing. We're going to work on this fucking UI and we're going to make this the best fucking UI.
We're going to go fuck over Amit's company right now, Robinhood.
We're going to fuck over Robinhood. We're going to make this app so easy to use. I'm a seasoned investor. I know how I want to see my money. We're going to make this the best, most user-friendly fucking app on the planet. And just like Indians do, they're going to go in there and they're going to fucking execute. He's going to fire everybody.
No. I'll tell you exactly what I would do.
I'm just saying, I think you would be the guy.
I would go into the office. I'd be like, okay, chief engineer of the technology stack and everything.
Yep.
I would hand him my phone and open up the Robinhood app and says, I want to clone this. Make it happen. That's it. That's what fucking Zuck does. Zuck just went in there with fucking reels. Be like, listen, this thing is called TikTok. Next week, I want our fucking thing to look like this.
I'll give you.
Okay.
They're like, what do we call it? He's like, I don't give a fuck what you call it. I don't care.
It doesn't fucking matter. Just this is what I want it to look like. Okay. If you don't want to do it, I'll fucking fire you and find someone who does make it want to do it.
Do you see why? Because
that's what he did with Snapchat. You remember Snapchat? It's like, hey, vanishing messages. Zuck probably just went in. This app is called Snapchat.
It took 2 seconds. He walked in to the best engineers. Like,
I want it to look like this. Okay, next Tuesday, make it happen. Oh, what are we gonna call it? I don't care what you call it. Just put it on Instagram.
I want you to call it Done. How about that? I'm gonna go to Maui and keep building my bunker, my underground.
Which is crazy.
We'll talk about that another time. Okay, so because I don't have too much time, I want to get to everybody. So then I was thinking, like, what would I make VITALY the fucking CEO of? And I'm like, Enphase, no, I don't think he would do a better job than Badri. And I was thinking of Tesla, thinking of other companies, and I have the perfect company. Tell me Vitaly wouldn't be a great CEO for Airbnb right now.
Interesting.
Vitaly,
he's a real estate guy.
He's a real estate guy.
No,
That's
here's
the first
why.
thing as well,
Vitaly
yeah.
would come in and he would say, "This is the problem with the business model. If you really want to make money at real estate, this is what we got to do. This is the properties. These are the markets we got to go in. These are the ways that he would go in, and I think he would be able to bring that. He would bring that in and say, Airbnb, we're going to make Airbnb actually functional and useful and make it win-win for the customer as well as the company. Right now, Airbnb is good for the Airbnb. It is not a good experience. We even had this when we were trying to get our Airbnb for Vegas. It's ridiculous. I mean, the fees were ridiculous. It's gotten a bit out of control. There's way too much saturation. I think he'd be a good CEO for that. Vitaly, open door. That's a great one.
That's actually good. This was a good question.
He'd be like, we're going bankrupt tomorrow. I'm taking all the money.
Now I know why you said there's a longer discussion. It's a great
Yeah,
question.
it's a long discussion because I want to go through everybody. Okay, now for me, I was like, which company would I fucking...
I have a couple for you I just thought of. I didn't put that much thought into it, but a couple in my head.
We can pick it up tomorrow. I just thought it would be a good conversation for Sunday. But for me, honestly, the company that I would take over would be Meta.
I did not see that one coming. I did not see that. I had three in my head that I did
Okay,
not
you know what I would do?
I'll be honest. I would be honest, Carlos. I would divest immediately because you have you're way too ethical to run
Carlos
that.
would walk into Meta. He would say, "We're turning off the ads right now. Start a subscription." And then Meta stock would fall 55% when they have no ads.
You know what I would do? No, you know what I would do at Meta? This is what I would do at Meta. I would go in there day one. I would fire Zuck so hard. I would throw him out by his fucking hair. I'd grab him by a handful of hair and throw him the fuck out of the company. And I would ban him from Facebook and Threads. And first of all, I shut down Threads, right? That'd be the first.
Oh, by the way, hold on. Threads is growing, bro. It's growing a lot. I was reading a report last night. They're the number 4th downloaded app in 2023. And they launched 6 months into 2023.
Yeah, but daily active users is all that matters.
I get it. I'm just saying it's growing.
This would be my quick roadmap for Meta. What would I do as the CEO of Meta? First of all, I would create a paid tier, which gets rid of the ads. I would probably make it same as Twitter, $8 a month. But in my first meeting as CEO, I would go to the company and I would say, believe it or not, our goal is to dethrone X as the free speech platform of the internet. We've got more daily active users. We are now going to be the pinnacle of free speech around the fucking world. What I would do is I would create that ad platform and I would start to try to limit our reliance on ads. I would also create a feature. Where I think that the horizontal scrolling is sort of passe. I think that we're not utilizing that enough. I would make everything on that app scroll in 4 different directions. So if you land on like a post for Amit, if I scroll to the right of that post, it would be more from Amit.
That's a good fucking idea, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I never heard of that.
I would have it be 3D. So I would say, yeah. So I would go up. If you want to continue to see what the algorithm recommends for you, I would go to the right if you want to see more from that user, like more stuff from Amit. I would go to the left if you want to see counterpoints for, say, if there's like an argument, if there's a news article, I would go to the left if you want to see arguments that are counter to that point. And then I would go up for something related to the same theme in the same way that Apple does that with their with the news app. And it would look almost like, I would make it look almost like this. The way it looks on your watch, you see how you can go like this?
Yeah.
I've
never heard of a social app doing that.
That's what I would do, because I think the infinite like scrolling thing, it just creates a certain fatigue. And then at the same time, by doing that, I have done a lot of thinking about this. By doing that, you would increase the amount of data that you get on people's preferences by 4.
Yeah. Right.
So you get, because right now, if you scroll up and you hit 2 posts that you don't like, you close the app. But if you just scroll from that point, you just scroll to the right and see what other options you get from that user. It would also increase the engagement per user. So if I land on a post from Amit, I now have to wait for the algorithm to show me another post of yours. But there's a lot of people competing for that space underneath your box, where if I scroll to the right, I'm immediately going to get more engagement to your account. That would increase people. And then I would obviously copy the payments to the content creators. I would start monetizing and sharing ad revenue with the content creators. Then with the reality labs. So I would say, okay, I would actually start to limit I would keep gaming, but I would not make gaming the primary function of the Meta Quest. What I would do with that is I would actually, believe it or not, try to start a Meta University, and I would make it.
You
I
go
would
education. That would
I
be
would
your
try to skew, and I would highlight more of the features of education, and I would try to start the first university, like a college university that you could attend in a virtual space and actually have it be
I
recognized
love that idea.
as
To be
a
honest.
fucking diploma, like a legit diploma that would allow you to be in school with people from all over the world, with professors from anywhere in the world. So you could listen in and sit there and have virtual classes,
Dude,
lectures,
imagine Meta taking
some of the
professors from
greatest
MIT.
fucking minds,
That'd
and have a way of like recording those sessions, right? And then being able to attend those classes. Now, using my AI data, I would have a way where you could attend a class that has already been recorded and actually interact with the teacher in real time.
yeah, because you get the transcript. Yep.
The transcript. But if you have that teacher, say, downloaded like an LLM, right? You can have an AI version of that teacher that could answer your questions in real time for a class that's already happened, even if that teacher is not logged on. And with the caveat of like, this is say 80% accurate in terms of what that person would say. But if you have enough lectures of a professor, the LLM, the AIs, he's gonna go.
Yo, that comment killed me. Chris, you see this? Zux is hearing all of this. He's getting ready to steal everything.
I've thought about this. And so you would be able to essentially create an avatar of all of your favorite professors and some of the greatest minds, and you'd be able to interact with them live. And then I would try to make a Meta University be commissioned and be validated as a legit university that you could go to for a fraction of the cost of a real university, which would bring college tuitions down, and I think would incentivize people to study more of right. That's gonna happen tomorrow. Anyway, so that was me. As much as I was like, Tesla would be great, but I don't think I could run it better than Elon or whatever. But my goal would be to honestly to take over the crown of the most free social media and leverage the technology of Reality Labs, which is right now losing money. People say that Twitter is a distraction from Tesla, but you could argue maybe Tesla from Elon and Twitter might not be making any money right now, but it's not losing nearly as much money as Reality Labs is for Facebook. So that to me would be the way to say turn Meta around, and I think that company's valuation would skyrocket, and I think it would be considered one of the most ethical companies that other companies would follow, both in the technological space. It would be an amazing place to have virtual debates for politics, right? Invite the politicians in, and I would leverage the Facebook Watch to create programming around VR that allows.
No one uses Facebook Watch. I mean,
I know,
they do, but it's like not.
But it's a platform that is waiting to be reinvented.
Right.
And so anyway, that would be me. I would take on Apple and Twitter and X with leveraging Meta's user base, the AI technology, but trying to use it in a way for real public and world good, and solidify the company as like one of the greatest companies, ethically and morally for our society, actually moving that technology forward. So that's what I would do. I would take Meta.
Okay, so I know we don't have a lot of time, but I have the perfect pick, at least for you, Carlos. I could talk about it more tomorrow.
Oh man. All right.
I think you would crush as the CEO. I mean, you would fucking crush as the CEO. I feel like you should know I'm going to say this. What do you think I'm going to say?
You're going to say...
What do you think I'm going to say? What does the chat think I'm going to say? Give 10 seconds.
I think he's going to say Netflix.
That was number 2. That's your.
That was you with Spotify. I was like, oh man, he's a podcaster. Like,
that was number 2, but I think my pick is better. I think my pick is way better, but it was on the list. Adobe. I think you would fucking kill as Adobe. You understand photo editing. You were the first users of Premiere 20 years ago. Like, you get it. You know the pain points. The company's already innovating with AI in terms of their LLMs and just typing in random stuff and you get photos. I think you would just be like, I know exactly what the fucking cinematographers want. I know all the pain points. I know how to make the subscription more valuable. And you'd fucking take it to the next
I do know what that company does, their business model. I know, at least from the user end perspective, from the...
You would destroy Final Cut Pro. You would like.
Yeah,
you would make it
honestly, I think
non-existent.
Apple would have a hard time competing with me if I had the money and power of Adobe, especially since they bought Frame.io. It would be forget it. It would be insane. I think I would be bored at that company, honestly.
Probably. You
I
probably.
think I'd be bored if I was there. Like Tesla would be, I would love that. Thank you, Digital Blade. But I just don't see myself. I can humbly say I would not run it better than Elon. I would want to be on the board. Honestly, I would want to be on the board of Tesla and give them advice. But I would say, I'm going to give you advice. You do whatever the fuck you want, but here's my opinion. That's it.
Yeah, I want to pick Tesla, but I know you have too much respect for Elon.
Yeah,
You
I
wouldn't
wouldn't.
do that, but
I
think
couldn't,
that
I couldn't do it better than him. I don't have the engineering background. I don't understand supply chains. I don't understand that. But I do know from like a user perspective, what I think what they should do. And I know cars, you know, but I can't pretend like I could run that company.
All right.
Imnab wants to put me at Exxon. Thanks.
Amit at
Imnab.
Tractor Supply Co. I don't know what the fuck is that. Chris,
She wants you to be fucking John Deere.
I would say for me that my mind is more of a capital allocator's mindset. So I could never be the CEO of a company that's operational, but I think I would be great on a board of directors and saying, okay, let's do this. And I'd be like one of the guys that challenges the thesis, but also helps build conviction on other parts of it too. So
Bro, do you know
I think
my number two?
the role, yeah,
my number two for you, Chris, was ARC.
Ugh, fuck that.
like
Dude.
managing the ETF. No, I agree.
Yes,
Chris
yes.
would dump
Because you know
Roku
why?
tomorrow and put it into
You know
SLG.
why?
I'll run my own
No,
fucking
here's
fund.
why.
Dude.
Here's
Yeah.
why. Because
Yeah.
what Chris would do is he wouldn't put it all into one fund. He would have several different funds. Like he would have, say, a real estate, technology, short-term, long-term dividends. He would have like sectioned off portfolios, and he would be rotating stocks in and out of them that would be each have certain risk levels, certain return levels. I think that would be a lot of fun for you to basically.
No, I would do that. I would do it.
That's Chris. You're saying Chris would be
yeah.
better as a fund manager versus CEO. Like that's where his true.
No, I'm just saying. Like when I was thinking about what I think your skill set would be good at, I was thinking of ARC as like I think that'd be great because you'd have the ability to.
The problem that I have with something like ARC is that ARC's entire goal is to find companies that are innovative, right? But whenever they buy and sell, they go too pie in the sky. So, like I said, I think I'm gonna eventually one day, mark my words, I'm gonna have my own ETF. I expect you guys to put some money in it. So
trust me, I'll leave my money in there and you manage it.
All right,
I'd love to do that today. I'd love to give you some money.
I have to take the fucking biggest shit. Like my wife got me coffee and I've been trying to escape for the last 5 minutes, but you guys keep dragging this conversation on.
All right, so
have a good one. Take care.
We will put a pin in this. We'll pick this up tomorrow. This is why I was like, we should do this early.
Bro, I'm losing gas. I farted like twice already.
Dude, this guy.
He's got to change from Sleepy Chris to gas.
He must have been so annoyed while we were talking about you being Adobe CEO. He's like, these motherfuckers.
Oh man. Anyway, that was fun, and I think we should pick it up tomorrow. Because I didn't even know
Chris gonna be the CEO of Gerber, the baby brand.
He's the CEO of Depends.
I was also thinking Disney for you because I thought you would fix all the woke shit they're going on with, but I was like, no, Adobe.
Disney would be another one that I think I could do.
Yeah, I think
as the CEO. But the Adobe thing, I think I would do well with that. But for me, the one that I think would be the most challenging and the most fun would be to take Meta, simply because I would not want to run Elon's companies better than him, but I would want to have him as a competitor. He would definitely get me up in the morning and make me want to he's a great, competitor to have, to be like, yo, he's doing his thing. We got to do our thing, with the bear, with the little bear. No, if you haven't hit the like button,
the bear would be perfect. He would use the stock market to market the fucking toilet paper, bro. Oh my god.
All right,
dude, Wong from Singapore doesn't know what sharp.
Look it up. You'll get the joke. Yeah, dude wipes. All
right, thank you everybody for being here. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern. Like and subscribe. Bye, everyone.
Have a
good night.
I'll see you later.
Bye.